Now brought to you by Curtis & Son Funeral Home, the North Chapel on Highway 21 in Sylacauga, and the Childersburg Chapel on Highway 280 in Childersburg for pre-need funerals, burials, and cremation since 1975. It's Curtis & Son Funeral Home, the North Chapel on Highway 21 in Sylacauga, and the Childersburg Chapel on Highway 280 in Childersburg for pre-need funerals, burials, and cremation since 1975. It is Curtis & Son Funeral Home, Sylacauga, Childersburg. In obituary news this morning, funeral service for Jeffrey Albert Risher Sr., age 59 of Goodwater, is today at 2 o'clock from Curtis & Son North, with burial in the Evergreen Memorial Cemetery. Fond memories and expressions of sympathy may be shared with the family at curtisonfh.com. Curtis & Son Funeral Home, North Chapel, directing. And Mr. Roy Steve Kennedy passed away at his residence last night. Curtis & Son Funeral Home, North Chapel, will announce the arrangements. Memorial service for Kimberly Martin, age 58 of Sylacauga. That service will be today with the visitation. Actually, the funeral service is today at 2 o'clock from First Baptist Church up Oak Grove. Curtis & Son Funeral Home, North Chapel, in charge of the local arrangements. Funeral service for Tartina Leonard is Friday at 1 o'clock from Pine Hill Seventh-day Adventist Church. Burial in the Evergreen Cemetery. Visitation is today 2 to 7 at the funeral home, Community Funeral Home, Sylacauga, in charge of the arrangements. Funeral service for Linda Morris will be Saturday, March 26 at 11 a.m. from Joyful Noise AOH Church of God in Christ. Burial in the Enon Lily Roden Cemetery of Childersburg. Visitation is Friday from 1 to 7 at the funeral home. All arrangements courtesy of Community Funeral Home, 511 Edgewood Drive in Sylacauga. Celebration of life, remembering the life of Mrs. Mildred Spink Swain, age 82 of Talladega, is Friday at 11 o'clock from Mount Zion CME Church with Pastor Lloyd Hicks officiating. Interment in the church cemetery. Public viewing for Ms. Spinks will be today 3 to 7 o'clock at the funeral home, S.M. Goodson Funeral Home and Crematory in Talladega, in charge of the arrangements. And S.M. Goodson Funeral Home and Crematory in Talladega announcing the arrangements for Mr. Walter Jackson. Mr. Jackson died Wednesday, March 23rd. S.M. Goodson Funeral Home and Crematory, Talladega, in charge of the arrangements. This obituary report this morning brought to you by Curtis & Son Funeral Home, the North Chapel on Highway 21 in Sylacauga, and the Childersburg Chapel on Highway 280 in Childersburg for pre-need funerals, burials, and cremation since 1975. Curtis & Son Funeral Home, Sylacauga, Childersburg.